Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Fantasy Six Pack to talk about Christmas Eve Sunday night football. What's better than Christmas Eve football? Probably Christmas Day football, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Right now, we have the Denver Broncos tonight are hosting the New England Patriots. Kickoff is promptly at 8:15 p.m. And while we have all the hoopla of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in football, this game's actually going to be a little bit more fun than one would have expected, kind of along the lines of Buffalo and the Chargers Saturday night when there was a big scare at SoFi Stadium for the Buffalo Bills, but they came through. Can the Patriots do the same thing to the Denver Broncos at home at Mile High? We shall see. Before I get into the all over-unders and betting trends and a few players I'm into, make sure you get to the website at fantasy6pack.net. When you get there, use promo code FFPlayoffs. You'll get 25% off your premium purchase. And while, seasonal formats are coming to an end, semifinals, you find yourself in the championship game, that is fantastic, but you can still use the premium packages. Cheapest one is $9.99 because there's still going to be betting and DFS stuff all the way through the Super Bowl as far as me and Dave are concerned. We confirmed it on the Sunday morning afternoon DFS Den broadcast. So this is where you're going to want to be. DFS, sports betting trends, me, Dave, and Keith, we're going to have it all for you all the way to the Super Bowl. And I can promise you that. When we get back to this game, the New England Patriots go to Denver. And when we look at this thing, what are the Patriots playing for, right? Bill Belichick, is this his last season as a New England Patriot? The dynasty is completely over at this case. But when you look at the Denver Broncos, they were actually surging and playing well. They had won 5 games in a row, and then they had a little bit of bad luck in a 3-game road stretch, right? They went 1-2. They lost to Houston, and the Detroit Lions beat them up pretty badly last week. But again, this is a new week. It's week 16. It's Sunday night. It's Christmas Eve. You're putting the presents under the tree. You're having a little rum in your eggnog, and we'll go from there. Let's talk about a few players, and I promise you, we're only going to be about 5 to 7 minutes is my kind of shot here. Talk about some football. When we look at the quarterback matchup here, it's Russell Wilson, and who else on the other end of things? We're looking at Russell Wilson or Bailey Zappi here. When you look at Russ Wilson so far, he's been kind of his old self again. He's running, he's throwing the football. It's lovely to see. On FanDuel, Russell Wilson is $15,500. On DraftKings, however, Russ, you can get, if you look at the MVP or the captain spot, I always do flex prices, especially on DK. Russ Wilson, 11-4. And you can expect, I'm going to guess here, off the top of my head, around 19 to 20 completions, about 220, 230 yards. I have, depending on the final score, I have Russ for around 2 total touchdowns, and any way you slice it, 2 in the air, and then none on the ground. 2 on the ground, so 2 total touchdowns for Russ. You can split them up any way you like it. Personally, I think Russ throws for a touchdown, and then he finds the end zone with his legs on one. On the opposite side of things, when we look at Bailey Zappi here in Denver, Mile High, we know the air is nasty. People wearing oxygen masks and all that stuff. And Bailey has been okay to a certain extent, right? It's not like it's been the year of the backup quarterback, unfortunately. But Bailey, in favor of Mac Jones, hasn't been all that it's been cracked up to be. Denver right now, 21st against quarterbacks. They're at home. That defense has been buzzing. I really wouldn't want to, even think about Bailey, given his price tag, $13.5 on FanDuel. On DK, Bailey's $8,800, so it's pretty cut and dry with quarterbacks for me today. It's Russ Wilson. When we look at the running backs here, and again, you might say, well, Chris, the video, it looks a little bit different. It seems a little different. I've prepared very minimally. I'm just trying new things out, right? The Saturday special for Fantasy Six Pack went live for about 30 minutes with not a lot prepared or prepped. I said, you know what? Let's try your improv skills and we'll see what we get. So everything I'm telling you is from my head with a little bit of notes, and we'll see what we get. If I can trust is my gut more trustable than others when you sit down and write? What would you prefer? Someone sitting and talking to you just one-on-one, like we're friends, or someone spouting out, well, the DVP is blah, blah, blah. There's a certain in-between, and I'd like to think that I found it somewhere, but we will move on. Let's talk. I promised you 5 to 7 minutes, and we need to get to that. When we look at the running backs portion here, Zeke Elliott is going to get all the targets and touches he can handle, and it's going to be a beautiful thing because Denver right now 31st overall against opposing running backs. Zeke 12-5 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings it's even sweeter. He's 10-2 on DraftKings. So Zeke Elliott, you're looking at least a dozen carries for about 50 to 60 yards. I think Zeke finds the end zone at least once, given the final score. It's around, I have the final score. I don't mind telling you right now. Did that a little bit on Saturday. I have the final score 21-14, and I'll leave you with a little bit of suspense. Who wins this one? So you get a sense of what the final score is when we're looking at yardage and touchdowns, and we go from there. So Zeke Elliott to me is the play at running back for the Patriots. But when you look at the opposite sideline, Javonte Williams to me is still a stone cold stud, still coming up, still young, still finding his way in the league after tearing up his knee last season, and he's finding his way around. And the Denver Broncos have had no issue taking off the kid gloves and just not throwing him to the wolves, but here, kid, this is your team, this is the football, here we go, and let's roll. Javonte, 12 grand on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Javonte 9-4. Again, expected, I'm thinking 14 to 15 carries for Javonte, a reception or two. I think Javonte finds the end zone on the ground as well. So to me, so far, it's all about Zeke and Javonte, and you're probably going, well, Chris, tell us something we didn't know at the running back position. Samaje Perine is very much in play. Jaleel McLaughlin is very much in play, but only to a certain extent. On the New England side of things, where can we pull a rabbit out of a hat, or do you expect me to pull a rabbit out of a hat for the Patriots, who haven't moved the football much? I mean, their record speaks for itself. They're kind of just they're struggling. They want the season to be over with, and they're going to I expect them to fully gut this thing and start from scratch. So to me, Zeke Elliott is the one and only RB play on the wide receiver side, running back side of things. When we look at the wide receivers, again, pretty cut and dry with Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, with Russ and Denver being able to move the football in the way that they're able to score points. Courtland Sutton has been, I was going to say Courtland Sutton's been a pleasant surprise, but, a lot of folks, in the know, especially in dynasty formats, they've known about him for a long time, right? And he's just needed the run. He's needed the rock, the football, and now he's putting it together. He's scoring touchdowns, and it's been a wonderful thing. And now we're waiting for Jerry Jeudy to kind of follow, behind him. Right now, New England Patriots 21st overall against opposing wide receivers. So Sutton and Jerry Jeudy to me. Jerry Jeudy, 11 grand on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Jeudy, you're looking around. Let me click on the wide receiver thing, because again, I don't have everything written down normally. Jerry Jeudy, 8 grand on DraftKings, and Sutton, 11 grand on DraftKings. So both of them combined together could be a thing. I want to sneakily mention a little Jordan Humphrey. He scored a touchdown last week against the Lions, and right now, as I said, Patriots 21st overall against wide receivers. He is 6-5 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, little Jordan Humphrey, only $2,400, and you're going to expect 2 to 3 targets out of Humphrey, a catch or two, and if one of those is for a touchdown, we are golden. On the New England Patriots side of things, they do have a star in the making, a stud in my book at least, in Demario Douglas, who's been, he missed a week or two. He had a concussion, unfortunately, but the kid's young enough to bounce back. When we look at the Denver Broncos right now against wide receivers, they're 9th overall, and their secondary and their cornerbacks are absolutely phenomenal, coming together in the way they built this thing with Surtain is a superstar already. But to me, Demario Douglas is a volume-based play here tonight, and he's only 10 grand on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Demario Douglas only $6,800. Let me type in Demario in my stat sheet, or what I have up, and I have Demario Douglas 6 to 7 targets, 4 to 5 receptions. You're looking at about 55 to 60 yards. So far, so good for this young man. 11.4 yards a reception so far. He hasn't scored a touchdown this season, so is Christmas Eve going to be the time where DeMario finally finds the end zone for the first time? Why not? It's Christmas Eve. Little bit of magic can happen. As we move on and we look at the other wide receivers for the Patriots, there's not much going on. Devontae Parker is going to be involved. He's $8,000 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Parker, you're looking at around $5,000. But you're 4 or 5 targets, 3 to 4 receptions. I mean, the star of the show for the Patriots here would be Demario Douglas. Tyquan Thornton is in play. Jalen Reagor is still a thing for the Patriots. And again, anything is possible. It's Christmas Eve. It's Sunday Night Football. It's Week 16. So far this season, it's been the backup quarterbacks. Nothing is as we thought it would be. So anything is possible. Just laying it out as I see it. When we look at the tight ends here, normally the tight ends in a single game slate is, we can really lock one down. And I do the MVP captain vice versa spiel. There's not much to be had for the tight ends here today. The New England Patriots probably boast the 2 best tight ends of the game, and being Pharaoh Brown and Mike Gesicki, and that's really not good for the Denver Broncos because it's got Adam Thielen. Greg Dulcich has been out all year, unfortunately. So to be fair with you, Pharaoh Brown, Mike Gesicki, the only 2 tight ends at play in this game in general, and it just so happens the Denver Broncos dead last against opposing tight ends. So is there a way here where, Bailey Zappi, however you want to pronounce his name, he gets to fire in the football a little bit, and more than likely it goes to the tight ends, Pharaoh Brown, Mike Gesicki, while Zeke Elliott is able to run the football. So we're over 10 minutes already. It's been a lot of talk and drivel, but what would we expect? When we look at the DSTs here this evening, obviously Denver Broncos are absolutely in play, given the fact that they're at home. Their defense buzzes, and their cornerbacks and safeties do get around. They do ball hawk this thing. And look, you can't trust any quarterback or anything that the Patriots are doing right now. Can't believe that this is actual real life. The Lions are playing well and the Patriots are in the garbage can. Who would have thought? But here we are at the kind of the tail end of Week 16. So as we get to the end of this thing, give you the final score. I told you it's going to be 21-14. I think Denver wins this thing, and it's going to be a fun game because a little bit of recent betting trends. Denver 5-5 straight up against the spread their last 10 games. The Patriots 3-7 against the spread their last 10, and the under has come in 6 out of the 4 times the last 10 games for the Patriots. So give me the Denver Broncos to win this one by 7 points, 21-14. No scoreagami. It's all even points. So you can take Denver minus the 6.5 points, and you'll win by 0.5 point. Fingers crossed. So be good, be safe, Merry Christmas, and be all happy and healthy. And I will see you soon, Christmas Day. Bye-bye.